Oh, must be you because they're from YouTube.
Hello, hello, hello. Monday night.
What's going on? It's Monday Night Sketchy Live, the podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
You've made it. We always say that. Oh, I always say that. You made it. To a really fun episode tonight. We are excited to talk to you about some stuff. We're going to get to know this guy that is an artist. His name is Johnny Jalopy. We're going to get to know him a little bit better. We're going to talk about art. We're going to talk about design. We're going to talk about a bunch of different stuff. We're excited to do that. ityB is going to, of course, talk about her influences, thoughts on art, thoughts on automotive design, all those kinds of things, because now that you've had some experience in it versus when we first started, I think you've got an opinion, and I'd love to hear it,
Thank
especially
you.
on design and that kind of stuff. So we are excited to talk to you. Can't wait to see more. And again, let's hear from you, interactions, all kinds of good stuff. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Sketchy Live Monday. Hey, what's going on? It's Johnny Jalopy. What's going on? It's Monday Night Sketchy Live, the podcast.
Yes, really excited about our topic tonight because normally we're talking about your art,
whatnot,
your
stuff.
Obviously your art, but not quite in the way that we plan to tackle it tonight. And I think
hopefully
we can talk about a little bit of the history, but you have some stuff coming up that you're prepping for from an artist standpoint. You're having to share. Not only what you know how to do, but then also how you came about doing what you want to do. The Great American Teach-In is coming up in November, and you've been invited to speak at one of our, not really local schools to us, but local in the Florida area, by somebody who knows you from TV and followed you.
It is a teach-in. I didn't. That's what it's called.
It's the Great American Teach-In.
Oh, well, there you go. I guess I'm going to be a part of it.
So it's a big deal. It's a big deal. But
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
So we were talking about what would you say? What do you plan to tell these kids when you're in front of a classroom?
Well, gosh, we're just jumping right into it. We're not going to, hey, how you doing?
Yes, we are. We are going to do that. I'm giving people a chance to make some comments here, so I have some stuff to read.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we plan to get into, and then of course we've been talking about it for a couple months now. The Missouri Show Me Lowbrow Art Show. Very excited.
Yeah, coming up. In fact, we got our table assignment sent to us. I got to send that to you.
Oh, I did not know. Oh my God,
just got official. I just got it sent to us.
It's official.
Sitting and stuff like that. We're in a pretty good spot.
Good.
Yeah. So we have our own table. We're kind of a vendor, so we're going to have to bring more than just art. I think we're going to have to bring some T-shirts and stuff too.
Okay,
so,
let's do it.
I mean, as much as we can, I guess, that kind of stuff.
I'm
but
excited.
Yeah, super excited about it. So the Great American Teach-In is coming in. I didn't realize that's what it was about. That makes even more pressure now. But one of the folks that listened to the podcast and has followed, I guess, my artwork and stuff, has contacted me and said, "Hey, we're at my school. I'm a teacher, and we bring hot rods and stuff to the school, and the kids come out and check them out and stuff like that. Would you want to come and hang out and maybe bring your car, which we probably will do." And then it was like, hey, I was like, well, that'd be cool. How awesome would it be to like talk to the art teacher and stuff like that, or maybe do something like that. And I guess that's a possibility. Is what I might be doing, is actually going to some of the art classes and talk about art.
You know what? It's not a far-fetched idea, because this is something that you do in your life. And
yeah, I guess. I mean,
it'd be different than
it does
me
say
going
that right there. That's what I do. Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah.
But to really sit down and think about it, what what points you would want to share, what you'd want to go over.
Yeah, because
we
I definitely want to
talked
make
about
we
it.
definitely want to make an impact, and I
Yeah.
want to make it a good conversation with the kids, and
Make
it's
it sound exciting and
it's
doable.
Sam
and-
Metro is the guy that
Yeah.
got a hold of me, and it's school in Claremont. Is that where it's at?
Yes, up in that area.
Yeah, so it'd be kind of cool, and I'm excited about it, but I definitely don't want to go and sound like a moron. So
No. So we're going to do a little bit, almost like a little interview, really, tonight.
I guess So what we want to do is to talk about, talk about.
Chalking it up.
No, not that.
Oh.
Talk about this, the Toby Keith song.
Oh. All right. Well, let me tell you who we've got on here.
We're not going to
tonight.
be talking about menstruating.
We've got James Olchin joining us from Lincoln, Nebraska. Hello.
What's up,
ityB and
James?
Johnny, God's blessings to you. Same to you, sir.
So much.
Chris Malinsky joining us. Hello, guys.
Chris, what's going on?
We've got Lizzie Daughtry, Ms. Butterfree 34 over on YouTube.
Some butter the freeze.
My 2 favorite peeps of the week, she says.
Nice.
Welcome. Howard Pierpont joining us, 76 and partly cloudy in Mineola, Texas.
There's a guy who could have conversations and do teach-ins.
Oh,
everywhere.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he's done them. I bet you he has.
Yeah, so
like in the marketing classes and stuff like that.
If I'm being honest, some of the conversations we had in the interviews that we did with him, when this opportunity came up, I was like, instead of just saying, "Oh yeah, it'd be cool to come," just for the car thing, it made me what about this? Because I thought, he had said, "Why don't you do that?" And I'm like, I don't know. I've never really been asked.
Yeah, Howard Pierpont did mention this.
Yeah, so I was like, when the opportunity came, I'm like, well, let me ask for
to the challenge,
a little more than a possibility of more than just showing up and saying hi.
Right.
So
we've got Mary Evans joining us, possibly Dan Evans as well, from the Dunedin area.
Evans.
Brother and sister in Christ. Love you guys. George Bennett joining us. Hello from Milan, Michigan.
Michigan. Bling, bling,
Motorcycle
bling, bling.
Awareness and Suicide Prevention Foundation. Doing great things over there, George. James Olchin said, Sir Johnny, were you an artist in grade school, doodled, and did you do cars first off? Yes, we are entertaining questions tonight, guys. So we can get into some things here. So if you have anything that you want to bring to the table, let me know and let me read it.
Should I answer that now? So yes, I did. I doodled quite a bit as a kid. And I was fortunate enough. My dad was an aspiring budding artist himself, and would spend time drawing with me, and showed me the fun of drawing stuff. And I think I drew cars and tanks and airplanes and different stuff like that. I had lots of friends. I had lots of friends that were way better artists than me. In fact, I can remember a kid in like 6th grade who could he drew the coolest 4-wheel drive trucks and off-road stuff. And God, what was his name? It's like it wasn't I say Hicks. It wasn't Hicks. But anyways, I always was like, man, I wish I could be an artist like that guy. He's so good. And then I took some art classes, and then of course my art teacher in junior high, Mr. Beedinger was a big automotive artist guy, and he did stipple drawing, and where you make little dots to make your drawings. And he was huge into automotive stuff. So I'd go into his class and be working on these big pieces of automotive artwork, and I'd go, wow, I want to do that. But what's funny is I didn't really pursue drawing or getting into it heavily as like, hey, this could be something, until later in life. So
and you were drawing cars at that point then?
Yeah, I mean, well, the normal thing you do, because it was airbrush is where I started to do. So then it was like skulls and different things, and then someone say, hey, can you do my car on a t-shirt? And I was like, yeah, probably. And then it just made me sit down and start trying to draw cars.
Well, a normal person, I don't think, picks up an airbrush and just starts doing art with an airbrush. So you had to have started at some point with paper and pen or pencil. No,
I just said, well, I used to draw and stuff when I was little, but as far as the airbrush part, I just picked it up and didn't know what the hell I was doing. I'd seen people do it.
Well, there you have it. Some of us are born with it. Some of us
and then
are not.
Watched videos as much as I could. It was kind of like the beginning of YouTube, and finding airbrush pages on the internet where you could be like, it was a group, at those times. Remember, they'd have like groups of things,
Yeah.
and people would be sharing tips and things, but there wasn't really ever video. It was always like, oh, try this or try that.
Like a how to.
And again, it was I remember I'd go to the fair as a kid and watch the artist fair at the fair and different places like that, or down by the beach and stuff. And I was just so fascinated by people who could airbrush on.
They make it look so
clothing.
Easy. Yeah.
And that's all I wanted to do was like, I want to make my own clothes or t-shirts,
Oh, that's cool. Well, there you have it, James. Jay Newby joining us from the Michigan area. What's up, guys?
What's up,
welcome. We missed you guys this past weekend. They had the car show at the Mile and Drag Strip.
They did.
Missed it, but it looked like from the photos that it was great.
And we also missed the Franche-Mouche.
Yeah, we did miss Frankenmuth a couple weeks ago as well.
I bet you that was a lot of fun.
Paul Marziani joining us from Bradenton Motorsports from the Bradenton area.
I just want to tape this too. There's just little Johnny.
Mary said, what an honor to be invited to the Great American Teach-In.
Yeah, I mean, again, I didn't know that was what it was till you just said it. But and then I guess I should read text a little more deeper. But it was called it just said Teach-In. I didn't realize it was a whole. I thought it was just their area was doing something cool that their school was doing.
No, it's a pretty big deal. The kids look forward to this. Yeah. I don't remember even having it at my school, to be honest with you, years ago. I don't think they even did it in our area. Maybe it's something that's only recently, like in the last 30 years or so. Who knows? Richard Hahn joining us from Alpena. Welcome.
Alpena. Did you say that Mike Hicks was on?
Not yet. Not there yet.
You're way up top.
Not there yet.
Sorry.
Lizzie said I gave you guys a thumbs up on your channel.
Thank you.
Thank you, as always.
Yes, like and subscribe, please.
Cameron McNulty joining us.
Hey, it's me,
welcome. I was thinking about you today, Cam. I was going to message you, and then I ran out of time.
Yeah, I messaged her. I know our cleats finally shipped.
Oh, good.
Cheapers, it took forever.
This poor kid, the season will be over before he gets his shoes.
That's what I'm saying. Way to go, Grandpa. I was trying to be a big help and like, hey, let me take care of that.
Bobby Cotter joining us from Lansing, Michigan. Another Michigan.
Michigas, what's up in the Michigas area?
Paul Arnold, also from Michigan.
P. Arnold, what's up? P. Arnold.
And then we get to Mike Hicks.
Mike Hicks.
Hicks and Little Daddy Roth listening in from the Hideout.
Nice.
Soon.
Boy,
yes.
We can't wait to see you guys.
We are merely weeks away. I can't wait.
Yeah.
So excited.
I have many t-shirts I need to acquire because I've destroyed all my cool ones already in a short period of time. I've outworn them. My Little Daddy Roth hats are all sweaty and destroyed because I've been wearing them as I'm working on the car and stuff.
And I would like a tank top. I don't know if you guys do tank tops.
Little tank top.
Like an LDR tank top.
Yeah.
Matt Williams, hello. How's the woods tonight? Been painting the bottom of my pickup bed.
Nice.
It's a cool project, Matt.
Soupy doop. We're doing soupy doop over here.
James Olchen said, I can't draw a straight line even with a ruler.
I bet you could, James. I bet you could. And that's something to, it's always a running joke with people that, I couldn't draw a straight line or I couldn't do this. And it's not true. If I would, again, something we talked about as far as what I would say to kids is it's just practice and time. And of course it's going to look terrible for a long time. We just a second ago, ityB put some artwork up in the front. And I'm like, oh my God, it's horrible. Take it down. Because, it
was fine.
Even the stuff I do and I'm happy with, then I'll go back and I'll look at it. And there are pieces that I just go, that's terrible. I don't even like it.
You're your own worst critic for sure.
Right. And that's the sad part is even this is what happens as you come out of a slump as well. I'll tell you that because it's, again, coming out of multiple slumps in my short period of time doing this
slumpage.
But when you come out of the slump, because you've been really trying to figure out why you're having so much trouble, and then you start to look at your old stuff, trying to get inspired, and you're like, no wonder I'm quitting. Because it's true. I'll look at stuff and I just go, I don't know how the heck any of this stuff ever happened, but you try to come out of it, and I feel like I've gotten a breakthrough. I worked on some creative stuff. I was just in the midst of. Before we started the podcast, I was out trying to create a t-shirt design, and I just popped in my head. And I was like, oh, I want to get this kind of started before I forget it.
Yeah.
So,
Jay Newby said, my granddaughter still has the pic you drew her on the wall
nice.
and draws all the time.
Oh, so excited. And that's the hopes too, is to be, that if kids can look at me and go, well, look at that. If that goofball can do it, I'm sure I can do it.
Howard Pierpont said, you will write a 20-minute speech. You then do a 15-minute, 10-minute, and 5-minute version. Then when you get up there, it all goes out the window.
Yeah, Howard, I can tell you.
Mr. Cotter.
I don't have a problem talking, but yeah.
He'll make it work. We've got Spud Anderson joining us.
What's up, Spud?
Good evening from the PNW.
What is going on?
We love you guys.
What is going on?
And they're back to business now. Did you guys start school yet? They must have.
School.
They were on a hiatus and cruising and touring and doing whatever they were doing over the summer.
For sure.
It's their time for travel. Ralph Pop Sanchez joining us. Howdy from a rather warm San Antonio, Texas.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see all these names popping in that we've been looking forward to seeing and stuff, and some that are new. So almost like it feels like football season started, and these are the folks that are like, football.
We don't want to watch football. We'll leave it on.
Just kidding. We're so excited that you decided to spend your time with us instead of the gridiron.
We've got Michael Schnell joining us. Hey, folks, from NPR via Wisconsin. He must be on vacation.
What's going on?
From the WI.
Hey. Whoa. And again, so excited that you're out of town and you're still popping in.
Tuning in.
Yeah, thanks.
Julie Anderson also joining us with
Jules.
What a wonderful night. So glad to see you guys.
We're so glad to see you guys.
Same. We should do a Zoom.
We need
to do a Zoom with everybody
like a Zoom would be great just to hang out and talk.
Yeah. Michael Schnell said, I destroyed one of the shirts I got from you.
It happens. I do it every day.
You're wearing one that's destroyed.
What do you mean? This is a perfectly good outside shirt.
Underarm. Dale Renner, Land O'Lakes checking in. Hey guys, haven't been on in a while. Dale, this guy has been going all over the place with his entire family. They are out at car stuff every
racing
weekend.
Stuff.
Yes.
All kinds of things. I wish I could hitch a trailer to their trailer.
Dale, we're watching and we're envious.
Yes. Soup envy.
Lizzie said, starting in the next 2 months, I'm having a Christmas fund on my channel. If you are interested in helping me out, please come to my live.
Nice.
She's already, look at her prepping. We're not even there. We're not even past Halloween.
I haven't even thought about it.
She's working on Christmas. Good for you, girl. Phil Fried, Brooklyn, New York in the house.
Brooklyn.
What?
Hey, we're excited.
I know. I love New York.
Get some Brooklyn peeps. Great.
Paul Marziani reaching out to Dale Renner. Dale, how was Reading? He must have been up there.
Oh, there's another folks we haven't seen in quite some time.
The McCoys.
Couillon.
Cajuns.
Looks like they had a great time at a little local car show that they went to, representing.
They're constantly doing some fun stuff.
So cool that the zombie attack bug or whatever, I forget what he calls it.
The zombie apocalypse.
That's it. But he's attacking zombies with it. Yeah. Not waiting to be attacked.
Phil said, love your collaborations with Ian Russell. You're an amazing artist.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you so much. Yeah.
And that
very thankful for that time.
I was just going to say that is a time that really helped get your name out there for sure. I mean, we had some people following you, but I think once people associated you with the show and saw what you really could do on a bigger scale, that opened up a lot for you art wise, for people to be a part of this channel or.
And what was really amazing about that whole process is that the idea of trying to design stuff that was kind of, not the normal, the out of the box, again, taking the notes from the master, of course, Big Daddy Ed Roth, of trying to think outside the box and not do things and create things the way everybody else does. Even before I owned a hot rod or could afford a hot rod or any of those kinds of things, it was thinking, how could you draw or come up with ideas of things that, maybe you hadn't seen, and maybe and some of it felt like I hadn't seen before, and then I would do it, and then months later I'd see someone else draw it, and then somebody else would build it. Ideas, little things. I'm not saying people took it specifically from me, but how sometimes I've even heard with with comedians and joke writers that premises there'll be like 3 or 4 people that come with the same premise, even though they're in different areas type stuff.
Well, we had talked about how you come up with your ideas. So when you're an artist and you've got all this creative stuff going on in your head, I know for you, your mind is going a million miles an hour, and we could be talking about something, and I know that you're thinking about what do I do next with the car? What do I do next with my
the
art?
interesting thing is, like, talking about the Ian Russell thing, collaboration, I was fortunate enough that the design that caught the eye of one of his clients was an out of the box thinking design I had done that had been sitting around for many, many years before they found it. And it was in the vein of trying to come up with things that stood out that weren't what other people were doing,
right,
or I hadn't seen before. And so, and I know I've told this part of the story multiple times, which is, I when I thought of the idea of those two combined vehicles, which is the hot rod guys with the Model T chassis, and then you take the VW people who are very passionate and stoked about the way they do things, and then trying to combine those two groups together to create the Johnny 5, which it wasn't called the Johnny 5 at that time. It was just a design I had come up with. But where that came from was looking at different hot rods that were already out there. So if you really honestly look at the Johnny 5 in great detail, you can see all the keys of the chassis design is stolen hugely from the Uncertainty, which at that time was such a out of the box thinking hot rod. So a lot of the cues and the way I thought, very short wheelbase, the cocked tilt, such a crazy tilted body on it.
It's exaggerated,
super exaggerated. How could I do something similar, right? A nod to that, but something that's so different that I don't think anybody has ever thought of doing. And I hadn't seen, I think I saw one, it might have been a sketch someone had done, but it was like taking a Top Fuel dragster or a slingshot dragster and putting a bus on that. But it was just the cab. It wasn't like the bed of the truck, the truck bed or any of that kind. It was just like the front portion. It could be a van, it could have been anything. And I saw that and I was like, it's kind of sort of, but it's not. It was way too long and proportionate, didn't feel right. So that's where I was like, in my head, I was like, So one day I just sat down and I took two pieces of those two things and melded them together, and there comes the Johnny 5. And of course, in its first rendition, which I can show you, go to us, not me. Go to okay, and then when I did that part, let me do it. The first version of it was not
what it is.
It was
today.
not what it is today. It was something totally different. So when we,
well, and I think one of the things you talked about talking to the kids about was to stay unique in their style. It's okay to take cues and ideas from other people, but especially when you're an artist, you want to have your own style. You want to develop that yourself, right? I mean, that's been the most important thing. It's not sharing. Yeah, that's been the most important thing is somebody can look at your art. I mean, there have been people who have stolen your art and posted it on another page. And because people know your style, they're like, I wonder if that's Johnny's. And then they'll reach out to you and say, hey, is this yours? I think somebody has this on their page.
Right.
Because they know your style. So important for us to convey, or for you to convey to the kids your styles. Okay, go ahead.
So this is the first where there was no color or nothing. I mean, it was just the idea of it. Was, again, you can look and it's pretty much it's very, very uncertainty-ish in
all the stands,
in taking that short wheelbase chassis and the tilt on the cab, right? And that's where I was like, no, let's if I did a single cab bus, split window, single cab bus on that chassis, of course you'd have to shorten it down, shrink it down, but it would be big, just big enough to where a guy could fit in it, was my thought. And so this was created. And if you look at the date on that, 2013, we didn't do the TV show till much later.
15.
Yeah.
2 years.
So it sat out on the internet, and this is what Ian saw the first time, was this version of it. and let's see if I can find. This is the first idea I had done of it was in army green.
It's nice.
And it was cool, but I was like, it just doesn't pop like I wanted to. And it sat this way for quite some time. And I think I tried to sell some prints of it like this. But it wasn't until this happened that suddenly now it became like the blue just popped and it got attention.
Yeah.
And there's where the story of my art just not being as kind of a hobby became something a little bit bigger, was when I got the phone call of like, hey man, there's a guy that wants to build this particular thing.
Right.
And here's where automotive design and again, going back to, I don't know if I've got it in here. Let's see if I can find it.
You're getting a sneak peek into Johnny's album here, guys.
Yeah, sorry. I brought up some specific ones for this. Did it stop sharing? Okay.
Yeah. Erie Eric is joining us tonight. Welcome.
There's a guy that knows
also collaborated with Ian.
A ton of design and everything.
He said, armed with skill and its frustration. The Dixon Way joining us. Evening, kids. You've inspired me to pick up the pencils again. It's been about 20 years.
Awesome.
Lizzie said, I still have the yellow camper on Steven's wall in his room. I'm glad he's still enjoying it. There's Sam Metro joining us. Sorry, I was late to the party, guys.
We were talking about you and about the teach-in thing.
Yeah, we're excited. I think I'm going to tag along and maybe video.
Yeah. So this is where kind of trying to learn how to think of design. I mean, this is early. Johnny Jalopy.
Is there even a date on this one?
I didn't even have it signed. Remember that was like the first logo, kind of thing, and it might not have been the first logo, because actually the first Johnny Jalopy logo was like a skull and crossbones kind of thing.
Oh, before, yeah.
But the idea of this was I was taking, I had seen a picture of this particular cab, and it was attached to a tow truck piece, which eventually I did turn it into a tow truck, and we have a T-shirt of it. It's our hooker service T-shirt. Yeah. But this is where I was like, what if you did oversized wheels and again, if you look at the drawing itself, it's not great, but the idea, like this whole rear fender portion and where the exhaust comes through and they're coming out the fenders is where I'm starting to try to,
think out of the box,
chopping the windshield down, and we're kind of messing with a little bit of the grill. And again, this is still very crude in my drawing capabilities and stuff. And this is me dabbling still in digital. This is on a Wacom pad at the time in Photoshop. And so I'm really trying to figure out how do you even do design, right? And then there was one earlier. Where's that? There it is. Again, cab over engine vehicles. It was where I was like, I love the rear shaping of the 50s Chevys. And I'd seen all these guys doing these car haulers and stuff like that. And I personally had never seen where they had taken one and done like a big giant Chevy fender and really stretched that out and really dragged it backwards. And those were 2013, so this is like probably 2011, 10, something like that. Really early on.
It's old school.
I mean, look at that. I'm typing in a signature. I'm not even signing anything. I haven't figured out how to draw backgrounds, so I'm importing backgrounds. Proportionally, things aren't great.
That tire in the back looks a little flat.
Yep. If you look at even this is what's bad. I'm being very
But the 51 is on there.
If you look at proportions, things aren't right. But I'm still trying. Like everything's smooth.
This is learning them.
And like the bed sides are smooth, and I'm trying to figure out how you would do the rake on the back. But this is me just thinking design.
But even still, your shadowing and your light source is still present in that.
Yeah. So I mean, that's where we start. I mean, it was where it really jumped off into like, hey, let me do some other out of the box stuff. And I have some other where I was like, well, what are some of the things? Go back to you. Yeah. What are some of the ones that you did? Shoot.
Well, here, let me read some comments.
Yeah, go ahead.
James Olchin said, lately, I've heard people say that UFOs can't be made by people. We don't have that intelligence. They say, but look back at science fiction and stuff writers came up with a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, you are making tomorrow night. Keep it up, buddy. Oh, I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Sam said video would be awesome. Looking forward to it. Okay, great. Then I guess I'm invited. I'm coming.
Hey.
Lizzie said that looks cool. Phil said, how about hot rodding a Bentley Continental or some other super luxury car? I bet Ian would love to build that truck. Possibly. So one of the other things we were talking about too that you would want to share with the kids is progression and not giving up. Because here we are looking at the history of some of the things that you've drawn. At the time, you were probably like, "This isn't half bad."
But at the time, I was like, "Wow, this is amazing! I can't even believe."
Fast forward to now, and you're like, "Yikes!"
Yeah,
because you're picking it apart. And I think that's just a natural part of growth. I mean, I don't know what grade you're going to be talking to, but if they're,
I would assume high school.
Is it? I don't know. So. Sam, I'm not sure what age group you're teaching, but these are impressionable kids. And I think, we're wanting to empower these kids with the idea of you can be anything you want to be. Right. And there are some challenges with being an artist full time. This is a hobby. We can't really afford to do this full time yet. There's maybe a financial struggle,
running out of time, but I ain't got time.
Maybe a financial struggle, maybe finding work struggle. Like if you're not going to do it for yourself and you want to be, let's say, an artist for someone, finding those kinds of positions. And it's really such a creative thing. Like we've talked about this a couple times, where there was a point in our marriage where I'm like, quit your job. I think it was when everything went down with your old work before you got this new job. Yeah. And I was like, just do the art. And you're like, I don't know, because what if you wake up one day and you don't feel creative? Now you've been in a slump for how long? What if you needed that as income, and that was our income? Like
we do.
You can't, like, I may not want to do my job, but I wake up and I could still sit behind the desk and function. When you're creative, and that goes for musicians, artists, construction people that are working with their hands, anyone in an artisan position, you're having to bring creativity to the table, and that you have to be inspired to do stuff. Sometimes it's not just a mechanical.
Well, that's the difference between pros and what I do, is that they find ways regardless of inspiration or not, because it is the job, and that's what you got to do.
Yes.
And again, that's the so what was your question again? I'm sorry.
Just being able to teach these kids that it's
well, I'm not going to be the one to be able to teach them. What I could hope is to inspire them. But as far as giving them advice, the advice would be that this isn't going to, if you decide to get into the field of art, whatever that is, in any way. I mean, we've got guys that fabricate and do stuff like that too. That is a hard job, including having to be creative and very quick on your feet thinking and problem solving and all those kinds of things that come along with those type of careers as well. But anything in the creative fields, the arts, it is work. It is not fun and games all the time, but it is, you can have fun doing it. Like I enjoy sitting down and talking and creating and making stuff.
And how rewarding for you at the end of the day when somebody likes one of your designs and you're like, oh man, I'm so glad. Like you get a good feeling about it.
Yeah. And again, the fun part is just trying to push, ideas that you haven't seen before, and trying to do things that are, or ideas that you've seen. Like, I'm sure there's there's plenty of lowered dune buggies. And so my thought when I did this particular one, this is early on as well, this is around the same time, 2013, what are some changes, small little changes that could be done, trying to reach the mild customs ideas, and doing not simple, but small little touches that could maybe make a difference, that might inspire someone to try to do something like this. And and again, this is before I could afford to buy a car or own a car. I was basically, during that whole time, my experience was just trying to own all these fantasy cars on paper.
Yeah.
Like I knew I couldn't own it, so I'll just draw it. And if I'm going to draw it, I'm going to draw it the way I would imagine
it would be.
Yeah.
Erie Eric said creators are our worst critics. It's like an ocean, the waves, ideas. Unfortunately, it's not always wavy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam said middle school. I teach 8th graders, but you guys will meet 6th to 8th graders on that day. I thought it's a cool age. That's cool. A really cool age. Diamonds, hey, been here. Got it playing in the background.
Hey, what's
nice?
Welcome. The
Dixon way. How true to size are your tees on the website? I'm a chunky monkey. We go all the way up to 4X.
I would say they're. I mean, like I when I am wearing 2X. But when I was bordering 2X, 3X, I mean, I went to 3X just to be comfortable, so not worrying about the, your stomach with it hanging over. And there were times you're like, hey, time to maybe go 3X.
Maybe don't raise your arm.
Or jog.
Something.
Stop eating.
Eat a salad. No, they're pretty true to size. And they're pre-shrunk and
Gildan
it's Gildan
t-shirts, so they're good t-shirt, very comfortable. All I do is wear my own t-shirts, and I put them through hell, and they last.
Yeah, I do. Uncle Larry joining us, Lawrence Crawford.
What's up, Uncle Larry? Love you, man.
He said, you are a pro, never feel different than that. You can teach. You will definitely inspire some young adult or young child to continue doing what they're doing when it comes to drawing. We appreciate the support.
Man. Appreciate you.
He's one of our cheerleaders. Eric said, creators are almost. Okay. I heard about that one.
They doubled it up on that one, huh?
Yeah, it did.
But it's a great, but it's so true, though. I mean, and again, here's a guy, Erie Eric, who's designed, again, as a guy who, when he's building stuff that is not at the job, is super out of the box thinker type guy. And, and I'm sure he knows the struggle of where you're like, the hard part is, you want to share, but you don't want to share. You're trying to keep things under wraps of your creations. And then as you share, sometimes people will bite those ideas and you're like, but you also want to share to get a little bit of feedback if you're on the right track. And then you're second guessing your opinions, your ideas, and then you do make them. And then, when it's all said and done, you're done and you're still looking at it going, I should have done that. And why didn't I do this? And but still a super fun, challenging way to do things. And that's the part I fell in love with the most about getting to fabricate on my own getting to create my own kind of thing. That was the fun part, was troubleshooting ideas of trying to I got it in my head, how do I get it?
It was frustrating and fun.
Yeah, but what an experience. I learned so much from that.
Yeah. George Makart said your art is limitless.
Oh, thanks,
we've got Gavin Little joining us from his rehab room. Definitely
up,
fun watching from rehab. We're praying for you. Yep. Erie Eric said it's called Headspace and it's awful. LOL. That's so funny. Another thing that we wanted to bring up with the kids is practice, because as we've seen, clearly you've gotten better, but you haven't stopped doing it. You can't stop doing it.
And when you do, that's when, if I'm honest about like this whole bout I had with
slumpage,
the slump in the block, I stopped too long in between time frame. You know what I mean? I was doing other stuff, that was creative as well, but the machine of drawing, putting stuff on paper, putting ideas in here that you see on, visually on paper, good or bad, letting the days slip away where I wasn't putting at least something down and practicing the machine, Like, for instance, if I was going to talk to young guys and girls about starting to draw, especially automotive stuff, is I spend, even at meetings and different things like that, hours and hours just doodling wheels, circles, just the motion of circles and straight lines and squares and trying to draw perspective things, even though I totally screwed that up. Thank goodness for some of the abilities to do some lowbrow art where a lot of that can work to your advantage, is not being great at and skewing things and making them look kind of cartoonish and stuff. But there are the times where you're trying to draw things that look realistic, and there's the hard part where you've got to stay within the rules of perspective and different things like that, But where you get to break the rules of those things is when you're in your creating of things and designing of stuff.
And it's like any other thing. If these kids were interested in doing athletics, you'd have a coach in front of them telling them the same thing: practice, practice, practice.
For sure.
And it's not going to be easy. You're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs. Like Eric was saying, it's great when it's going good, but it sucks when it's not. and when you don't have the passion, when you don't wake up that day. And I think when you don't wake up that day and do art, I should say.
Yeah.
Not wake up in general. But there have been times where
way to clarify.
I've watched somebody commission you to do a piece, let's just say, and you couldn't find the inspiration to do it, but you knew it needed to get done, and you had this deadline sitting over your head, and you didn't enjoy it. You were doing what you enjoy, but you didn't enjoy doing it.
Right.
Because of the pressure.
Well, then there's the times when the pressure comes and you're super excited, and then you can't stop stuff from coming out of your head, like this. I don't know if I'm sharing a screen yet. Let's do that. You all right?
Sorry, yeah, I'm having a cough.
Jesus. So, like this particular thing, 2014 is when I drew this, and it was the thought process of trying to start getting into bubble tops, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd seen things built, of course, my most favorite bubble top of all time is the Beatnik Bandit. I just love that car, everything about it. The design, the color choices, the just wheel everything. It's such an amazing vehicle, and it was me trying to figure out how can I take design cues from different things and build stuff. Like there's a lot of Corvette in this. There's a lot of Coyote, I believe. There's some Beatnik Bandit in it, color choice.
Mm-hmm.
But this is me gearing up for what was about to come, which was I get a phone call, and it's a phone call, more of a text and message. And it's Ian, after we've built this Johnny 5 thing. And he's like, hey man, I'd love to collab again. I'm thinking about redoing the Space Junkie. And he goes, I'm going to send you some pictures of a couple parts. I need you to come up with some ideas. Now, this is before the show even gets going,
Mm-hmm.
and a little behind the scenes, or behind baseball or whatever, is there was some planning that we did do before the show aired. But the real stuff that you saw on the TV show was true, which is I showed up. He's like, hey, I got this. And then the ideas kind of changed of what we were going to do, because now we're talking face to face. It wasn't just pictures over. But the first thing he sent me were these rear quarter panels off of, I think it was a Ford Ranchero or some sort of a wagon. And then the chassis of the Space Junkie one, what it looked like, because he had pictures of it somehow with the body off. And then he sent me a picture of a bubble that he had blown. And I guess him and Victor had blown like 4 or 5 different bubbles for the T-Bird project that they had done. And he's like, this is what I think I want to do, is I want to do some sort of a crazy bubble top car. So it's been my dream to always own one. And I think I want to do it. And so here's my, I'm so fascinated by the Beatnik Bandit. Here's now I'm getting the opportunity to actually design
something that's going to be built. Yeah.
A bubble top car, and I even want to say in the midst of this, I think Eric had already finished his Iron Lung, and there was the Atomic Punk was already out. There were quite a few different, and of course, Ed Roth had built multiple bubble top cars, but they were kind of trying to give nods to the Beatnik Bandit as well, and the Roth style of building bubble top cars. And of course, so I was like, holy cow, to get an opportunity to do that is going to be amazing. So what you see in front of you on the screen is basically that first set of designs. You can see where I've got the bubble faced both different ways.
Right.
I have no idea I just know the chassis is kind of this way. and it's got the holes, and he
So I
said
see in that bottom one, you
he
kind
said-
of have the Johnny 5 lean in there.
the images of an engine. He's like, I don't even know what we're gonna do, blah blah blah. But if you look at these two pictures, you can see where, as we get to the actual show. Oh, there's another one. This was another preliminary sent to him before we started, and the fin thing happened. And I sent him this, and he's like, oh, that fin's kind of cool. And I'm like, I know, right? It's very sinister. It reminds me of like a bad guy car. He's like, yeah, I kind of like that. I'm like, okay, I'll keep that in mind. So then when we sat down the day of doing the show stuff, it's here somewhere. Oops, went too far.
I thought you had these ready.
I don't have them in order.
Great planner.
I tried to do an order of them.
Or is this just your way of walking people through the album that we have on Facebook?
So there's, where we start getting into what we did on the TV show, which was there. I think that was the first. That was the first design where I drew it on the bench. 2006, 15, I think is what
16 is what it says.
I think it's a 5.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And then and then I'm like, okay. He's like, of course, just like you saw on the show, go back, draw it again. And this is where I'm trying to throw the fin in there. But these are the original drawings that when the car went to auction, these are the drawings that were off the TV show. And of course, here's your money shot. this really
That's
quick
so cool.
rendering. Well, it's cool, but it's horrible. The proportions are terrible. My perspective is all screwed up, but I'm trying to show specific parts of the design, which is the fin, the headlight in the body, the little the spears coming out, the little football looking air cleaner thing. We hadn't figured out a grill yet. Still kind of showing the interior nods, a little back fin as well. I'm trying to show all the design ideas that I have. I never went to school for design. I never went to art school like Chip Foose and all these other guys that know what they're doing on like how you do a rendering for design. This is my attempt at that, not even knowing or if it would even work. Good news is that at least Ian was such an amazing, talented fabricator that he saw exactly. Oh, I totally see it.
I feel like during those builds, you guys were really on the same wavelength a lot of the time.
So many times. It was really, really, and then of course, then again, what's awesome about Erie Eric being on right now is then Erie comes in and a lot of the things and ideas that we thought would work didn't work. And Eric came in and his amazing fabrication skills, and they were able to, him and Ian, to transform a lot of the flow of the body, the way we drew it, make the headlight work, the spear thing work. And then and then the cool part is I never drew a back of the car. So it allowed for Erie Eric and Ian to design a whole cool back end spaceship thing. But Erie Eric did a ton of fabrication on Space Junkie too. And I feel bad all the time. I don't talk enough about the amount of work that he put into the car too.
Well, here you are acknowledging.
I'm trying.
He says, by the way, the very first piece of automotive art I ever bought was from you.
Oh,
so how much?
That's amazing.
How do you feel crappy now?
I do feel super crappy.
He said, I had a realization a while back. Early on, I would build to my skill level as it stood at that particular time. As my skills developed to the point that I could seriously make anything any way I wanted, I found creativity. I struggled.
Well, the Iron Lung is, again, in the realms of bubble top cars, is such a different, it's such a different, the way you did the car is just so out of the box and different thinking. And then everything that you've collaborated with the instance, that I've watched you collaborate with people has always been very super out of the box, in design and stuff like that. So it's pretty neat. We need to get Erie Eric on here and talk to him. I'd love to have his, because he's a funny dude. But yeah, so crazy that the opportunity to do design, not knowing how to design, you know what I mean? So,
well, you know what? It really started with the first design you did, because you didn't draw the Johnny 5 thinking it would ever get built.
never
So
listen, in a million years, I never thought anything I ever drew was ever going to get built, because I never even thought I'd have the skill level to even build any of my own stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was a dream. Like, I always thought, oh, how cool would it be to learn the skill set to be able to do what a lot of these guys were doing. And again, that's why I became a fan of Ian's, was because I was watching those DVDs, watching this guy fabricate stuff out of nothing. And I'm like, oh my God, I just want to be that guy. Why can't I be that guy? Oh, because you don't know how to weld. And oh, you never learned, you didn't, well, you should have took shop class because that was something you were interested in. You were too busy doing video production, and you were doing drama, and you were doing, art stuff, drawing,
yeah,
photography.
but you know what?
I was doing all this other stuff.
Drama, photography, and video production have all played into what you've done here. So
Yeah, that's true.
it all works.
It did.
And, and I think about the fact when I sit on the couch and I pop on HGTV, why am I watching it? Because I want to be a better interior designer. I want to be able to put a vase with flowers on a table and call it a day. Why do I watch the cooking channel?
I don't know.
I never cook.
That's true. Just kidding.
Because we do this to attain some knowledge, and it just piques an interest. It may spark creativity.
Well, that's the hopes, is that, in when people have said, hey, you've inspired me to pick up the pencil and start drawing and doodling and doing different stuff. It feels great to hear people say that. It's always felt so good, not just for the kudos of the television time, but for people to see, who've come up and said, that they thought it was cool that somebody like me got on TV and was able to be some sort of a portion in
something really cool
in a show that they liked, and I was a good person in it, or whatever, that was entertaining enough.
You did good.
But the fact that, again, four cars we built on that show, Ian built, that we had a hand in. It was like the opportunity, when the opportunity came for the next build, which was after the Space Junkie, was the Funky Futura, and that was another. He didn't show me anything before we started.
Right.
How it played out on the TV show is exactly how it played out, which was, he just said, hey, this car body. He did send me a picture of the car body, and I came up with a bunch of renderings before, and they were terrible. And he's like, no, that's not it. I think every single one I sent him. No,
you were getting a little frustrated.
I'm not feeling that. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm leaving for LA. And
I gotta have something.
I mean, to the point of the day I got in, and we talked, and we filmed for 30 minutes or 40 minutes. I went back to the hotel room, and we ordered a massive amount of Chinese food. And I'm just sitting on the bed with my computer, just
with the dog,
drawing the shit out of this thing. And no matter what I came up with, I hated it, because our idea was that we were going to try to do something way different than we had done before. And everything I kept coming up with looked like what we had done before, like the color schemes and all the stuff.
And you wound up keeping the color scheme anyway.
Well, as soon as I showed Ian, he was like, yeah, that's
we're keeping the blue and orange.
That's the thing.
Blue and orange, blue and white. Eric said your art has also developed way past where you were when you started. And then he said, I'm a hermit, because I think we had asked him about being on the show.
Maybe.
And he was like, I'm good. Yeah. Sam said, if you don't have a dream, you can't have a dream come true. That's true.
Yeah.
He said, okay, that was supposed to be on the same thread. Oh, he split it up into two comments. Paul Matuska said, do a car dedicated to Aussie Opal. Do you know what that is?
I don't think I do.
What is that? Paul, send us a private message and tell us what that is. Sounds interesting.
So what you're seeing here is, again, if you watch the television show, there's the Funky Futura. Mm-hmm. The bummer part of this particular design was, for me, the bummer part was there were pieces that I still to this day wish we would have got on the car. Like, I wanted so bad for there to be double headlights,
Mhm.
and we put singles and we played with doubles. And to this day, every time I see the car, which I'm so happy that the owner of the car drives it like crazy,
Oh, good.
drives it so much.
Good.
It gets seen. And it's at shows, and it's driving here and it's driving there, and he drives it to the dinner, and he drives it to do errands, and he just drives it. It's so awesome, because unlike that, it's the only car. Johnny Five's got, who knows, Space Junkie 2.0 somewhere in Vegas, last I heard.
Mhm.
This one, the yellow bug, which was kind of like, I had a hand in it, but I didn't have a hand in the finishing of it, but I did, that kind of thing. But this is the one car that, him and I worked on and did things together, paints, all the planning and different stuff, and it's driven like
That's
crazy.
cool.
But I just wish, like, I loved this whole little bumpery thing I made, and the double headlight thing would have been just badass. And maybe I just need to send that picture to the current owner. Like,
Yeah,
dude,
have an
you
auto
should do it,
headlight.
or maybe I just may make some double headlight brackets and just send it to them. I think it would look so sick. But yeah,
Yeah, this was a fun one for you guys. Yeah. Well, we are at about 10:30, so we're probably going to wrap it up here.
Okay.
But any parting thoughts? Because again, we're going to put together probably some ideas for you, maybe like a little note card or something that you could stand up in front and talk to these kids about, because that's going to be something we're prepping for November.
Yeah. And of course, we're going to a super cool show in
The art show,
Michigan,
Missouri, with Michigan people that we met in Michigan. They're
so
not.
we're
Michigan
excited about
people.
that. So if you're in the Missouri area, down there in Kansas City, is it Kansas City? I think it is. I don't know. It's gonna be pretty darn cool, and if you get an opportunity, you should come and check it out. We're gonna be down there,
St. Louis, Missouri.
Love to meet some folks and see you there.
Yeah, Eric said Space Junkie 2.0 is actually sitting in the same hangar as the Atomic Punk, same owner.
No kidding. I did not know that part.
Good
info.
info.
Okay.
Gavin Little said, I love watching all these amazing, talented people do the things they love to do that look easy because they inspire me to dream bigger and harder. Johnny, you definitely fall in that category for me because you helped me get through my first amputation 4 years ago. Then you inspired me to pick up a pencil to start drawing and try new things. That's awesome.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Buddy.
And newsflash, Gavin, because I can remember you participating in this before, but we are close.
Yeah, a couple days away.
To Inktober. Hot Rod Inktober starting, and there's a list already out. Head over to the Facebook page, Hot Rod Inktober, and I think Hank, maybe with some help, put together a new list. I'm not sure if anyone else collaborated.
No, I think it was just Hank himself.
And
the list looks pretty darn cool.
Great.
So get over there.
Yeah, go check it out and start drawing. Don't, if you can commit to doing every day, great. It's not obviously something you have to do, but I know I'm a part of it. I don't draw anything, but I like to look at the photo or the pictures that everybody's submitting and just see the different renditions of the prompts.
Yeah,
for each day.
It's a great way to start.
Challenge yourself
to draw. It is a hard challenge because it's drawing a car every day or some sort of a creation for 31 days. And so far in the last year, I think it was the first time I did all 31. Some days I had to double up because I had missed a day, but it was the first time since I started doing it that I actually accomplished the whole thing myself. Even the first year we started Hot Rod Inktober, I don't think I finished all 31 prompts. Maybe I did. I don't know. But it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun because you don't have to come up with the idea. You just have to draw it. And the cool thing is everybody's posting their pictures.
Yeah.
It's not a competition. It's a cool way to see how other people think and the way they draw and the style in which they draw. Yeah. You can learn how to draw different styles. You can see different styles. I would recommend if you're interested, definitely go over there, sign up and do it. Even if you do 1 or 2 or 5 or 6, it doesn't matter as long as you're participating.
Yeah.
Be a spectator. Comment on the drawings themselves. Just comment
and like it.
These artists are drawing and are regular people who just want to make cool stuff, and they're just looking for some feedback as well, because this is a good time just to. And again, the whole concept of the Hot Rod Inktober came from comic book artists who do the same similar thing. And I didn't see anybody in the automotive art industry doing anything like that. And I was like, why don't we have a hot rod one?
Right.
So I was like, hot rod Inktober. And, luckily the original Inktober guy, I think he saw my thing. And I think I had even said, hey, I did this thing. I wasn't trying to. He's like, no, that's cool. So I think it was okay. And it's been going on for many years now.
They haven't shut you down.
Yeah. So we continue to keep it going. And thank goodness for Hank Dutton, who continues to keep it alive, because I just don't have the time. This time of year always ramps up for me at work. So it makes it very difficult. So luckily enough, he keeps it going. And it's a lot of fun. Head over to Hot Rod Inktober page on Facebook. It is open. And just let them know that you want to draw. So get in there and do it.
Yeah. And thank you again, guys, for the support you consistently show us. We've been getting some great orders come through the website. Head over to johnnyjalopy.com. Check it out. We do have the t-shirts over there, like we said, all the way up to size 4X on those, and quite a few to choose from.
Yep.
Hats still, beanies still, which I love. I'm wearing mine every week. Love it. And we're getting into beanie season. I'm so excited.
Sweater weather.
And stickers, and just a tremendous amount of art over there, guys. Even if you don't buy anything, peruse the albums and see how you've come along.
Yeah, and there's some new designs coming, because some of the stuff I worked on to get some art broken breaks done is some cool pieces that are I think gonna be t-shirts. So excited to get those up and going. So we got to make sure we make copies of those before we go to and sell them.
For sure.
But yeah, we're excited about it. So thanks for tuning in. Another Monday night in the books. We appreciate you hanging out.
In the books.
In the books. We've been doing this for so many years.
We gotta come up with a better line at the end.
We do have the best line at the end. And again, thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate all of your comments. And the best part of this podcast, the best part of Sketchy Live Monday, is you guys.
Yes.
The interaction, the comments, the feedback, all that kind of stuff. We really appreciate it. It's our most favorite part of doing this. It's why we continue to keep rolling on, is that we've got folks showing up. We'll continue to keep showing up while you show up. We hope to be doing some sketching very, very soon. Next week, probably. I've got this cool little Woody I'm working on, and I think that's going to be next week's art piece.
Yay!
Which will be fun. So excited about that.
So stay tuned.
So
have a great week ahead, and as always.
Oh, wow! You get to say it?
Yeah, we gotta go. Let's go.
Okay. Well then,
I'm ityB.
This is that podcast. I'm Johnny Jalopy. Stay sketchy. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
She tried to take my line.
I did.
Sketchy. Sketchy's my deal. Stay sketchy.
Stay sketchy, guys.
Stay sketchy.
Bye.
Hey, but that's my sketchy thing.